Gonna wait and see, make sure the people can hear us. Now, last week between Justin and I, we had almost 20 viewers, so hopefully we can get a decent fan pool here between the two of us.
Yeah, you should. I think I had 20 viewers last week myself.
Awesome. Very cool.
I attached this to all our social media platform.
Okay, so this is up and running. Yeah, I'm on the push right now to get to 100 followers on Twitch. I'm at 84.
Okay.
Trying to get to 100. That's the big goal by the end of this year. Okay, so we're following all these guys. Go to the main. Yeah, no, I think tonight should go fairly interesting. I think it's going to be a lot of good chess. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're live. Yeah, we're entertaining the dozen fans. Yeah, no, yeah, it's very it's good. It's a good thing. I don't have to have any haters in the chat asking me why one of our names is spelled wrong. So Brian, I have a 2-year-old. He'll be 3 in February, and I've got a buddy who's a graphic designing whiz, and he was up in New York for a long time, and he charitably made my overlays and everything for my channel just to help me out get started. And one thing he did was make a emoji for my subscribers, and it's of my 2-year-old. So anytime something good happens, they have to spam the good picture, and then there's a devil picture where my son has devil horns, and they spam the bad Benson for when bad things happen. So we've got emojis in the chat, and that's why I'm filling you in case you were seeing what it is. That baby is my baby. Yeah, it's not some random baby. So, Brian, when you're playing chess online and, or when you're streaming for yourself, if you ever do, is Lichess your platform, or is this something that you're kind of using only for the State Cup, or what's your Lichess background? Gotcha. Yeah. No, I do. I kind of noticed that too. So I have a Diamond membership. When I first started streaming, a couple of people were nice enough to donate, and I actually bought my first Diamond membership for Chess.com, and I've been spending basically the year on Chess.com. But I definitely think I'm thinking about making the switch over to Lichess. Yeah, because like you said, the interface is just a lot simpler. There's not as much going on, and I definitely noticed in some of those time scrambles, if you pre-move on Lichess, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't had a whole bunch, but if you pre-move on Lichess, it feels like it takes no time. Whereas on on chess.com, even if you pre-move, it's taking a fraction of a second, which can be a really big deal when you only have 1 second left, you know? So Lichess, the moves are, like you said, they're pretty spontaneous, and I've seen people play on 1 or 2 seconds on Lichess play 15, 20 moves, you know, like ridiculous, just because they're. But yeah, I mean, another great function of Lichess, in case you're joining us in my chat and you're looking to improve your chess or, you know, just learn something new, is Lichess has my absolute favorite thing of any chess website, and it's got studies, and the studies are completely free. You just look under their Learn tab, and there's dozens of studies. Some of them aren't that great, but you can always search by like most liked or most viewed, and normally you'll find some really nice stuff. And Lichess, and I am flabbergasted that chess.com doesn't really have anything to compare to the studies, Brian. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. Well, yeah, so that's a really big like correlation thing. My all-time highest rating that I've ever achieved online is 2176. However, that was on Lichess. When I go over to chess.com, and I'm not a great online player, I struggle a lot. My highest chess.com rating is like 1670-ish. So about a 500-point disparity. But the crazy thing is, if you look at it percentile-wise, they're very similar. So if you look at it, like I'm like 94, 95% in some of my ratings on chess.com, that's very similar to my 2100 on Lichess, the percentile wise. So yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I think it's really hard to climb up on chess.com just because the player base is so wide that the odds of running into someone else rated what you're rated who's also improving or also trying to go up is just really high. So it causes a lot of people to be underrated. Whereas the fewer players on Lichess, you kind of have the opposite problem. You have to, if you start off well, and that's what happened. I started off fairly well on this account, and my rating just never dropped out. You know, I'd play against 17, 18, 1900s, and because I was beating them, my rating kept climbing, and it's a little inflated right now. I want to get it to 2200 and then never play on it again. Nice. Yeah, for sure. Chess is a crazy game. Like I feel like I've been playing some of my best chess ever, and I'm grateful enough to have a club nearby that's open, and I visited for the first time in several months. Like I said, I can't really play in clubs too often because of my son, but I go visit this club, and I go undefeated. I play 3 or 4 games and don't lose a single game, whereas I'm coming off of just losing 50 rating points online. So it's like, the harder you try, the more self-defeating it can be, for sure. You'll find yourself over-pressing, or you'll give yourself too much credit. That's a big problem, and something I'm trying to work on as an improving player is Don't you got to be objective. You know, no matter how much you want to win, you have to analyze if the position is actually winnable. You know, because a lot of people will push straight through into a loss because they can't accept that the position is just so dry or so. You know, you just have to. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, definitely. When you're trying to go up, sometimes you can be your own worst enemy. I do. I have a couple of private students, and then I during the school year, as soon as everything is good and the world kind of goes back to normal, hopefully I'll be back in schools. This last school year, before everything was shut down, I was in about 8 or 9 schools and taught about 17 classes. So I was in contact or teaching chess to almost 300 kids a year. Yeah, so pretty crazy when I actually stop and think about just how many how many kids there were. Yeah, I totally empathize. All my friends, they'll make fun of me or joke about me being the chess guy. It's kind of the depth of me outside of being a dad. if I'm not with my son and I'm not playing with my son, I'm pretty much playing chess. Yeah, I go ahead. That's awesome. No, my son, he'll come and sit on my lap when I'm doing lessons, or come and sit on my lap while I'm streaming, and he knows about chess. He knows the pieces. He's almost there to having the attention span for it. But it's definitely something that I want to wait. I've come to the conclusion that I want to wait till he comes to me and is very, very passionate about it himself. I think that's one thing about chess is the love for it is very contagious. You'll meet a lot of people who've never played chess before, but if you're really passionate about it, they'll pick up the game and kind of carry it on for you. And I think that's pretty much what's going to happen with my son. I actually learned to play chess really late, Brian. I don't know how old you were, but I didn't learn to play chess. What was that? You were 28, yeah. So I didn't learn to play chess until I was about 17. I've been playing for about 4 years now. It'll be 5 in March. So yeah, both of us are late bloomers by the modern standard of people who get to master. People being 4 or 5. But yeah, it just kind of goes to show you that at any age you can excel at chess. I think, and I think even Fischer kind of had the opinion that the average person with just hard work and dedication can get to master. He thought to get to national master really wasn't the big push. that makes a huge difference. And I don't know what Michigan's top 100 looks like. But that's one thing I always tell people about Ohio is Ohio, while we don't have a GM or anything like that, to be in our top 100, you still need to be rated, 2000. It's not like some states, like I know Kentucky or I think even Indiana or maybe even Pennsylvania, some of our other bordering states, you can be 18 or 1900 and be in their top 100. Whereas to be in the top 100 in Ohio, you pretty much have to be an expert or expert strength. I don't know what it's like in. Yep. Gotcha. Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome. That talent is just really, really, really incredible. Yeah, I mean, it's really funny because, and I don't know what you do for like chess reading and stuff, but if you look at it, a lot of people talk about the youth coming out of India, coming out of China, coming out of Iran, but it's like America's starting to get some really strong homegrown talent. Like I don't think people are giving American chess and the American chess scene enough credit because of our past of just kind of, hey, move to America, but our homegrown talent is incredibly strong. And I mean, if you look at it, we're in the next 5 years, America might have 5 or 6 players in the 2700 club, and I mean, the only other country that's like that is Russia, and that's pretty incredible. Yeah. India is a super strong junior country for sure, especially like Nihal Sarin. He's Pragnanda. Yeah, it'll definitely be an interesting next couple of years for chess. Like in my lifetime, I've only known Magnus Carlsen as world champion. In my chess lifetime, I should say. So I haven't seen anybody else or really, anybody be that dominant. It's kind of like if you were learning to play chess in the 80s and you really only knew Kasparov, So it'll be interesting in a decade or so because I don't think Carlsen will be world champion for another 10 years. I really don't see it happening. It has. So I still like guys like MVL. But it has to be someone who can play. And as terrible as it sounds, they have to not lose the classical portion. As horrible as that sounds, So MVL and Nepomniachtchi are 2 players that I could see being able to play Magnus equally in classical, and then perhaps pull ahead of him in rapid or blitz. But the big thing, and I doubt that he'll ever get there, but a lot of people talk about Alexander Grischuk and Alexander Grischuk's capabilities in classical chess. And I really think if he had a classical match with Carlsen, that it'd be a lot closer than people realize. But I think I was reading an article. Yeah, he's always in time trouble. But I was reading an article, and I think it was Danil Dubov who was talking about how anybody in the top 20, is good enough to be world champion at chess, but they don't have that same mental fortitude. They don't have that same aptitude for championhood, or what that mindset. And that's what's kind of setting Magnus apart. Is it's not necessarily that he's a stronger player, but he's got the champion's mind. Does that make sense? That's what a couple of people have said, and I believe it. I mean, once you're able to play chess like those guys, if you're in the top 10 in the world, yeah, realistically, if you have a good day, you could win your match, right? But you have to be able to have that good day, and that's not always the easy part. There's a really good Siegbert Tarash quote. You may have heard it, especially if you're a teacher, but it's wow. And okay, cool. This Google Sheet has been shared with me. My stream pulled up. You should be able to see the screen. I can't really share with you, but yeah, here we are. Oh, sad face. I'm not in the official streams. I don't know why, but so let's see. We've got Emma, who played last week. We've got Constantine, who played last week. Joel played last week, and Justin, who I did commentary with last week. So we definitely have a slight rating disadvantage. And by slight, I mean over 100 rating points. It looks like Michigan's average rating for this matchup is 2186, and the average rating for Ohio is 2059. Our top board is National Master Justin Storn, and yes, he does. He does play in the Queen City Classic, and he's actually coming off of, we played at an Indianapolis Super Tornado, and he did really, really well. He gained several rating points, and he got a couple of draws off of some 2,400 players. So he's a lower rated player by standard of, Mark and James are definitely beating him in the ratings department, but I think those will be interesting games, especially if Justin gets positions that he likes, but that's the story of chess, getting the position you like. I don't know too much about Joel. He's our board 2, 2143. He played really well last week. He may have only given up one draw. Constantine played my favorite game last week, and although he's only rated 1940, I'm pretty sure he also beat their board 1 last week. So he's a pretty strong player. Although he did have an upset in round 1, Justin and I think he accidentally resigned in a winning position. So it was like this weird, I don't know if it was a misclick or a mouse slip or what happened, but we thought he was just baiting his opponent, and then he resigned. So it's an interesting, and Emma Chang is another player that I hadn't heard of before this event and helping to cover it, but I'm a really big fan of her play. She's very, very solid. She gets into and even won this super drawn knight and pawn endgame just by playing actively in a time scramble. So yeah, I think that there's definite potential for any of them. Do you want to take a second and talk about your Michigan players? Cool. Yeah, that's super impressive. I was gonna say I'm familiar with that name. Okay, yeah, no, I'm really excited to see these board fours then, especially if he's an up and coming player. I think him playing against Emma is going to be really interesting. I think it'll definitely be interesting. So I've got a question in my comments, and maybe you can help me with this, Brian, but they're looking to see if there is a link that they can read more information about this event in particular. I haven't been shared any such link. I'm happy to answer any questions. So this is a chess league. It's a states cup. So there are 4 states, Brian. And is it 4 states? Or is it 8 states? Yeah, 8 states per division. 4 states are playing tonight, right? Yeah, so yeah, it's basically just the states versus state chess match. It's being played on Lichess. I think you can find it on Lichess and follow it on Lichess, but I don't think it's going to show up under their tournaments, as Lichess is not organizing it. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. But I am going to say that game 1 with Mark and Emma has started, so I'm going to go ahead and follow that over to Lichess. And it is starting off as an Alyekin, so he is. So I don't know. This is Emma. Emma is play. Mark is black, and he decided to. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, leave it to you to know. It's totally fine. Yeah, hard questions for sure, but I just want to make sure you get the right information. I do know it's every Wednesday at 7 is when it's taking place. So if you're interested in coming back, definitely leave a follow, and hopefully we can provide some good chess commentary for you. But yeah, so already Emma has veered from what I consider to just be the refutation to the Alyekin, which is the 4 pawns attack. So if you play c4, knight hops back, d4, and then you after e6 f4. I don't know if you're familiar with this line, but she's kind of just going into the more main line of development and castling, which is probably safe against the higher rated opponent. She probably doesn't want to get into a super theoretical battle. She'd rather just play normal sound chess, and I don't blame her for that decision. What do you think, Brian? You're coming. Okay, awesome. No, you're totally fine. Yeah, I'm not trying to race out ahead of you. I'm also going to pull up James's game with Constantine. just to have. I like to have all 4 games open and just kind of bounce between them, see if there's anything interesting going on. Looks like we have a normal Kings Indian being played by GM Canty. I'm a big fan of the Kings Indian, so we'll definitely be taking a look at this game. Justin's game is also up and running, so we will take a look at our National Master, and he is playing against Abahavnan, right? Is that Abi? Does he go by Abi? I know a lot of Abis. And this started off as just a French. So Justin's really familiar with the French. However, it was an exchange French, which is yeah. So an exchange French, pretty rare by like modern chess standard. It really doesn't happen all that often. But my guess is, again, just exchanging in the center, trying to keep it from being uber tactical. Doesn't want to play a bunch of theory, so he's hoping to just get a solid position where he can develop. I think both board 4s are doing exactly what I would do if I was playing up. Just trying to play normal, safe, sound chess, get a realistic position, and not be outplayed in some opening theory or opening novelty. Yeah, so I think that both are. I think both are playing very. I think both board 4s are playing very a sound match strategy. And yeah, Justin plays the French a lot. Yeah, I've looked at that Queen E2 line, and you'll have to let me know if you've ever looked at this. But actually, Queen E2 on move 2 is actually a variation. So after E4, E6, Queen E2 right away. Yeah. No, you're totally. You eventually play like D4. Black can sometimes play C6 and D5, and like goes for this triangle structure. But yeah, that was a super fun line that I looked at for a little while as a refutation to the French. Just because I think it's called is it the Tartic Hour or the Chigorin French? It's one of the two. Some old chess master.
It might be Chigorin. Yeah, I forget the name of it. I don't know if I did the live concert. He actually said it on the speaker. I forget the name.
Yeah, I
knew what it was.
It's an interesting line, so props for that. And it is the Chigorin variation of the French. Queen E2 move 2 is the Chigorin. I just looked that up for us. Fact checking. So yeah, no, that's super cool.
Okay, just gonna give a shout out to someone. I think I fixed sound on somebody you can't hear the coach. I hope you can hear me now. It seems like I fixed the problem. Kathy Lynn, what's going on, Kathy? You set this up for us to stream together. You knew the Brian and Brian combination was going to be good. You must be a marketing person. Kathy, I see that you put a bunch of links in the chat. I don't see the links either. I do not know why your links are not showing up. So, that's interesting. But can you guys hear me now? I turned my microphone on. This is something new that we're doing. Hopefully that you guys enjoy our stream. Guess what? I got the fly bride. Fly bride is with me, Brian Fleischman from Ohio.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. It's two Brian, the price of one of those.
And we were just talking about what were we talking about? Oh, the Justin Thorn and Ivanov. That is how the match goes because the first board will play the fourth board in the beginning. Until they reach the last game, the fourth game, it will be top board versus top board. So This is going to be a mismatch as far as the rating is concerned. But we had a score last week. Our lower board scored a half a point versus the top board, and that could be a big deal. What were you going to say, Brian? I'm sorry.
So I'm Tony Nichols is I was going to say Tony Nichols is bird. Okay, started with 1-4.
Tony Nichols
very
playing on. Is he on the third?
Board Tony starting off with a bird, and the reason this is a little bit odd for our non-chess free fan, it's interesting to weaken your king's diagonal by moving up, but also it's more normal to play d4. F4, while it does strike at the center, is just kind of it's an offbeat line. So while it's not as crazy as maybe A3 or A3 or something, it's still definitely is not as mainstream as some E4, D4, or even C4, the English. The bird opening is definitely kind of a novelty in this day and age. It doesn't get a whole lot of love.
Brian, is that a playable opening, you think?
So, fun fact: there is, and this can let you know if it's a playable opening or not. I was rated under 1,000, and I played a chess player in the Cincinnati area named Tim Lake. And Tim Lake is about 1,800. He's played at the Kings Island Open. He's won the U17 or U1800 at the Open. So he's a very reputable 17, 1800. All plays bird mate. Okay. The first time I played him, I knew I was going to play him. I prepared for the bird, and what I play is bust to the bird. And do you know the bust to the bird, Brian? It is E5, so it's called Fromm's Gambit. E5 and then D6. And I played Fromm's Gambit, understood the position and played. And I played down to a position where I had a forced mate in 4 against this legendary bird player. And I ended up misplaying the move order, so I ended it in a draw. But the very first time I ever came face-to-face with the Tim Lake bird, it was a draw. And this was when there was like a 1,000-point rating difference. So I think the bird is playable as a surprise weapon, but if your opponent has any sort of knowledge on it, I think the concessions that you're making are just very, very, very large. Yeah, I think the bird, along with the Dutch, is just one of those openings that computers have just kind of refuted. You know, modern play just kind of teaches you how important the center is, how important bishops are, how important all of these things are, and weakening that F file is just so long term, that I think it's just kind of been not antiquated, but it's just not as powerful, especially if your opponent plays normal moves. You definitely, in the age of computers, you want to get some sort of opening advantage for white. That's at least what we're told. And to play something that doesn't at least reach out and get as much advantage as possible, that can be a serious problem. That's why the element of surprise is almost the biggest advantage you can get for playing the bird. I'm being asked if I've ever tried a King's Indian defense against it. I have not, but I know that kind of idea is possible. And in fact, I think that's what Blobby played. I think he started with a knight f6 and went, So he went into this sort of King's Indian position. I think that it's totally fine. I don't know if it's as punishing against the bird as possible. And in fact, he's already down. He's not down the pawn, but he's down on time, which kind of leads me to thinking he's not super booked up on the bird. So I think he's just trying to play a solid position, get an advantage. He wants to trade queens here, which it makes sense. I think his play is pretty normal if you're still looking at this bird game with me, Brian. Do you have any opinion on the King's Indian against?
But also ask if ever the King's Indian, ignore that person because he is a King's Indian defense snob. I know you play it, but those King's Indian snobs think they can play King's Indian against everything. So whoever asked that question, I see you.
I am a player, but I am a big King's Indian player, but I've actually started to branch out, and actually one of my favorite weapons with black against d4 has actually just become the immediate c5 and playing the old Benoni. I've been having a lot of fun with that. And there's a player in Cincinnati. His name is Will, and he's about 24 SCF. He's one of Ohio's strong. He actually talked to Benoni. He said stylistically, it fits me very well. And he's a big fan of it and actually has a very positive tour record with it. So it's not as unsound as you would think. So we're gonna hop off the bird game and or anything. But let's take a look at maybe Justin's game, or maybe see how let's see how our borders are fair up against top boards. Justin actually has a pretty time advantage. While I don't think his position incredibly crushed anything, he is expanding on the king side. While White has control of this e file, he really doesn't for that long. All Black has to do is put one rook to the e file, and he pretty much puts a stop to the control that White has on the e file. I mean, I see the knight hopping into f4 being really annoying for White, because you don't really want to commit g3. You know, there's the old saying, you don't want to advance into the attack. You know, and he's already played h3. I like this move, bringing another piece towards the king side just to help with defenders. But there it is, rook to. Yeah, so just to try and get the queen in there.
Yeah. If any queen trades would have happened, so the queen trades I think would favor White in this situation. Because if you look at the bishops,
for sure, and the bishop
battle
on
of the two
c1
bishops,
doesn't really have a clear path to
way more active than
activity either.
D1.
So it is.
The pawn's coming, isn't it? Right? And with that queen on the board, that pawn storm is going to be insinuated.
I think White is just trying to close the shutters right now. He doesn't want the storm coming in. But it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of refute these pawns coming up. But it doesn't look too easy. I mean, g4 is looking fairly strong. I know Justin isn't going to trade on the e file, nor should he. He's not in any sort of rush. I think Black has got the easier position, but I don't think he's by any means winning yet. Meanwhile, the board is really closed up on National Master GM Canty and Constantine's game. The board is really closed up. Black is up a pawn and trying to open up this king side, but he has to be careful because White does have this dangerous passed a pawn. There's something about this closed position and the location of the rook on a2, the pawn on a5, that is reminding me of like some Karpov positions where Black just wants to, or White just wants to swing over and try to push these pawns.
That is scary,
but I think he may be too slow. I think that
is James Canty with an attack. I know James, and these are the positions he lived for. He calculates like any grandmaster in the world. This is tough. I think this is winning for Black here. Yep. Rook takes f2. He doesn't have to be in a rush either.
Is knight f2?
Rook takes f2. It looks very clear right there. But you know he continues to calculate because
I mean the rook can just take the. Yeah. I mean, f2, and if you want to prepare it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, he also might even just have like developing move. He might have time for developing moves, trying to activate his queen. But yeah, rook takes 2. So you're hitting the queen. You're hitting the other rook with discovered check. This probably looks resignable, honestly. Because as soon as that rook moves, there's going to be discovered check, and yeah, that's very, very tough. So let's take a look at Emma's board and how Emma is doing up against
dark squares are
F. Her king side has been ripped open, but with the two bishops, she might be able to do something. But it does look like Mark is going to be able to infiltrate on these dark squares. I mean, we might be looking for moves like Queen F1. Well, we can't play Queen F1 because that is a bishop. So maybe bishop to D3 to back to F1 just to get some pieces over here. I'd like to put my light square bishop on G2. As passive as it looks, I think that's where it needs to be if I want to have a good. Try to strengthen up some of my squares near my king. Yeah, I think Queen E7. Do you have printer in King H1? Oh, I don't think you can play that. Yep. That's dropping a piece. Yeah, I think King H1 was probably the necessary move. Um, yeah, I think King H1 avoiding this altogether. I don't. But even then, King H1. I think even after King H1, the knight might have sacrifices with knight to G3 after takes queen takes G3, and you're threatening mate on H2. The queen can't come to E2 because of the rook on E8. It looked really hard to stop that mate actually. So yeah, this is a really good position for black for sure. White did resign after rook takes F2. I kind of expected that. That was a very, very strong position. And Abi's game, how's Abi doing against Justin? Abi is getting low on time, but he's not in time trouble yet. I think he's just trying to figure out how to best survive the storm. Justin's going to start to reroute his pieces. I think right now what he needs to do is focus on king safety, but maybe look for some counter attacking chances, because I think if he sits here and waits, Justin's board presence is just so much better than his. These pawns are coming through. I don't think you can sit and wait. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this position would look much, much better without the queens. You know what I'm saying? Queen E6. I see, just like you said, I see the storm coming.
Yeah, I mean, these queen and bishop are eyeballing a lot of really important squares. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a rook abandon the E file and get on G or H8.
Yeah.
And just he's going to start really crashing through. I have someone in my chat saying they're loving our discussion of theory and that they have been working on their own opening repertoire for fun. Yeah, I mean, I think working on your opening repertoire is something I suggest to people after they've spent enough time playing chess. I think that a very dangerous thing to do is pick openings before you've played a lot of chess, because you really don't know what is for you and what isn't for you. So my suggestion to anybody working on an opening repertoire is play everything. Play everything.
I completely agree.
Yeah,
play everything. And if you think that you're a certain type of player, you're probably wrong. So
that is very true. Yeah, only with time can you learn to play like yourself. It's very normal in chess to find idols and find awesome stories and hear about great chess players and want to play like them. But realistically, until you start playing like yourself, you're going to be losing a lot of games that you could possibly win. I'd say it to pretty much everyone. I would rather have a position that I understand where I am worse than a position where I am better and have no clue what to do. Comfortability in chess goes a long way because we play like humans, not like robots.
Point there when you're talking about the robots, I tell a lot of my students, hey, you analyze with that engine and you find that move. Unless you're trying to understand why the engine suggests that move, you didn't learn anything. Because if you see one move where you say, hey, white is better, but you have to pick the top defensive move for 10 moves straight, unless you can defend like a computer, don't want to go into that. So that also could be dangerous. You have to, of course, I love using engines, but you have to be very careful of the information that you're choosing to get when you're using the engines. Yeah. Because a computer can see some crazy sacrifice. Right. It doesn't mean that
yeah, I don't think it's just attacking a computer. Just because a computer can see mate in 13 with some crazy sacrifice doesn't mean that I go both ways. You're not going to attack either. I mean, I know there's a few examples I think of, and if I were to go to my chess.com recent games, I'd find some where it's just, oh Brian, you didn't play the correct move, and chess.com is scolding me because I missed,
That's right.
I'm like, I can capture this rook. I'm just going to capture this rook.
Hey, I'll take the back door.
I'm going to be up the rook.
Okay, you go in the front door. I'm going the back door.
Like, it's funny. You blundered.
I have a story that I tell to my kids that kind of relates to what you just said. If there is a good move, you have two moves to choose from. One move, if you calculate correctly, you're going to win right now. You sacrifice a piece, There's 5 lines to pick from. You pick the wrong one, you lose. There is another move that you can pick where you will win in the long run, like winning the rook. And I say it like this. It's like you have 3 doors. One door, you know you can get a brand new Mustang. One door, you know there is a bicycle. And one door, there's a goat. Now, the one door with the bicycle, you can see that door is open. You can obviously choose the bicycle. Or you can risk it and choose door number 1 or number 3. Maybe you get the Mustang. Maybe you get the goat. And picking those moves, if I have an extra rook, and I know it's a possibility that my calculation could be wrong, if I try to pick one of those doors, I'm taking the bicycle. Because as long as I'm getting there, that's all that matters.
Yeah, a big thing that people, and they never believe me, and it's really true. The amount of attack play that I actually calculated is very few. If I'm attacking, it's not because I'm looking here and I'm seeing 8 or 10 moves ahead, but because chess principles are telling me I should be correct. I have enough pieces around your king. I have enough initiative or anything like that. Like I'm playing more off intuition and playing more off feeling when it comes to actual attacking. A lot of the times when I do my most calculating, is my opponent is attacking me. Is I want to make sure that I'm calculating going the right way, or I'm making the right defensive steps. It's really interesting how just different players play chess. But for me, most of the time, my calculation is defensive resource and not so much about offensive. A lot of the time, I'm just I think there's a famous Kasparov video where he's talking about checkmating Karpov or something like that. Right. And he's like, well, I have 5 pieces and he only has 3, so I should be winning.
Hey, what do you think about this?
And I really kind of live by that logic. At least when it comes to the attack. Yeah, I mean, he definitely crashed through. There's that really strong bishop on g3. Now it's going to Justin to prove how he can break through. The pawn storm has settled, and he didn't gain material. I don't think he has a super winning position, but I mean, I don't think the white queen is happy c2. I don't know how happy this bishop is to b2 right now, but it does look hard.
A while ago,
it does look hard for black to really find a point of entry at the moment. That's kind of my immediate gut reaction. Yeah, I think we had talked about that. And I wouldn't have been surprised if the rook ended up leaving this e file.
Because right now, I think
he's just counting on the dominating the e file, and maybe he's going to look for the eventual queen h7, knight h4 kind of deal, and just try and break through and crash in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the Capablanca approach, wind up with a piece and win with it.
We have a comment. So the knight is hopping into h4. That's what I figured. This is the plan that he has to go for if he wants to win. But really quick, someone in my chat says, "I like the Capablanca approach. Wind up with an extra piece, win and win. Keep it simple. No need to be fancy."
If he plays queen to d1, what is the answer to that? Oh, rook d1 would be the answer after queen.
We're getting a rook on e2 now.
Okay.
Rook on e2 is really strong.
Yeah.
If
there's 11 seconds here.
Yeah.
Yeah, rook e2 looks like that would be pretty finalizing.
Rook e2 attacking the queen?
Justin's just calculating, making sure that it works.
What happens if he goes rook d2 and then knight to f2? What would happen then? Knight f2?
Takes with check.
He does it that way.
I think Justin's just calculating, making sure that it works.
Yeah, I don't think
and
you want to get into when you're this low on time. Queen should be rook and bishop.
Takes check. Oh, okay. Wow, he's giving up the queen. Blunder. I don't think this is the type of game you want to get into when you're slow on time.
Yeah, this is now he chooses
beating
to get
rook and bishop.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised Justin. I'm surprised that John didn't go Quincy too.
Is Ohio and Michigan.
Yeah, so the states that are involved in this division,
I can name the 8 states.
I can't name all 8 off the top of my head,
yeah.
but tonight is Ohio and Michigan,
Maine,
and then is it
it's
Maryland
Maine,
and New York?
Massachusetts, Michigan,
Or Massachusetts
Ohio,
and New York.
New York, New Jersey.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Is it? You have Pennsylvania? No, we got Maryland. Seems like I'm missing one. Did I name all of them? And then Pennsylvania. So those are it. Maine, Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania.
Can't stop Justin trades the rook.
No. Good try, Abhinav.
And you can't stop Justin Green. And yeah, Justin's going to go on to win this game. And that means that we are counting Blobby to pull off a win against in order for Ohio to the first round. Michigan is leading 2-1.
Okay, so this is going down to the wire.
Yeah.
I like Tony Nichols' knight on d4. His control over this file.
Have a message, sir.
Yeah, I think White is probably for choice because of his activity, but it wouldn't surprise me if this is just a draw. Though he dropped the pawn, right? But he gets the stuff that might be worth 6. You take 7, knight to
and
D.
There's a doubling of the rooks on the 7th rank.
Yeah, she's look out. So you have to spend that one for something like B6. Yeah, both players with about equal time. So, yeah, there's plenty to play for here.
I actually think that he could play after if you play b6, he can play rook to c7, hitting the knight on c4. Okay, so he chooses not to allow the doubling of rooks.
Yeah, up the tempo.
Yeah.
I probably agree with this. I think that playing for the win is also playing for the loss. And if your opponent is more active than you, then you should just calm down for a second because Black is basically down right now. He needs to figure a rook into the game before he starts worrying about winning pawns. I think I actually read a quote about that today. If you go to win pawns before you're completely developed, you made a mistake.
That's right.
You should always finish development before trying to win material.
And
unless it's,
you know what? The more you learn about the end game, the more that's true, actually. Because there's so many different ways to draw the game once you learn more and more about the end game. So
yeah, there was a really great
there was a really great end game played in the most recent Bundesliga. And Michael Adams and David Anton played, and I was blown away by this. But you can have a rook for either side, and then you have a rook 2 pawns. But if it's an F pawn and an H pawn or an A pawn, it's actually a draw. It doesn't matter if it's up 2 pawns because you can just force each other. You can't advance both. So your thing is in front of those 2 pawns. So it's like wild that you would think winning pawns wins the game, but there are definitely several positions where, in fact, you need the right pawn to win. So you can't be greedy in an endgame, guys. It's not going to help you out as much as you think. Peace activity over everything. Hey, it's Justin hopping into chat. Very nice. I liked Rookie too. That was really nice, Justin. That was a tough game though. We were concerned. We thought you might play like rook to h8 or rook g8 first, just to kind of help and have it there. But did you just think that the e file was too good to give up?
Yeah.
The long-term advantage of the e file.
Congratulations, Justin, on
we'll get Justin. We'll get the thoughts.
I thought that you had instead of g3, maybe rook to h8 would seem to be more finalized. But I guess that position, everything seems to be good.
Because you'd have to think about what position specifically. Yeah, the pawn storm was.
Yeah, he says he'd have to think about what position specifically. Yeah, the pawn storm was, I think, sound, and you got your. I think the most important thing about it, honestly, was that I don't think a lot more because he was constantly worried about breaking through, and you got a really good clock advantage. So I think that is
time advantage. This is going to come down to the wire.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to dip under a minute, and I like that Blobby has gone about.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to dip under a minute, and I like that Blobby has gone about getting his rooks active. He is facing the 2-to-1 queenside majority.
Yeah, that bishop is going to be able to hold that. I think
it doesn't look that easy to break
like you said
through,
earlier,
especially if I can reroute my
bishop
bishop to like 8 or something like that.
Imbalances in it, but I believe that with correct play, Black should be able to hold this with correct play. But correct play with a minute left, it's going to be hard.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done. I'm saying it's going to be hard to correctly, accurately have the correct technique here with only a minute left.
Careful about getting his knight back down.
Yeah.
No, what I was thinking is
now Black has to put me here
because that would win the match.
No, what I was thinking, I wonder if Tony will offer a draw in this win round. I wonder if he will offer the draw. But he might for the way I think he's better. Definitely, you have to prove it. He has no reason to not keep. But it wouldn't surprise me if it comes down to the
trade of rooks
wire. If there's
going to trade rook to d8. Looks like. Well, maybe maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if trading rooks helps him because I think that bishop is just going to be really, really strong. So we'll see. Yeah, you can't ever pin the knight. Yeah, okay. I was looking at that. I was like, can I attack both knights? But yeah, it doesn't. You can always move one of them.
Knight to b4.
Justin says he thought about h8 a lot, but couldn't see how I get my queen into the attack, so he just went for g3, which was...
Yeah, Justin, I figured that position is like a plus 2. So, I believe that it probably was a lot of moves to be played. I actually thought that Ivanov should have played queen e6 because the pawn storm was coming, and I would have got the queens off board by force before I would have let the pawn storm go like that. But that was an excellent game. Of course, we have history with Justin because of his Queen City games against Detroit City Chess Club.
That's I think just to move his bishop back and forth. Yeah, I think Bob, he's given up his time advantage. I think he just to not lose. I think that's
exactly what he needs to do. Yeah, game time because we do now. So that was why couldn't he take a6? I don't know. So that might have been this is me. Tony Nichols might have been rushing. Knight takes ace here.
No, check. Up in there. Can't take it yet.
And then knight to come on now. Gotta move. Knight d6. Or should we? Oh no, you got to go back to c5. Right, knight 5.
Says there was one BBC Classic where only paid guys come.
Yeah.
He played.
Yeah. Oh, this is rook d7 threatening knight 8. Okay. All right. So both players are just. Ooh, this could be dangerous here. Oh, that is dangerous.
Yeah, it looks
what happened here.
He's queening. You can't stop the pawn. Wow, should have gone for the draw, man.
No.
He's going for the draw, Brian.
No! Oh no!
Very nice play under time pressure by Bobby. Yeah, that was really, really nice.
Yeah. Ah! All right, but
I wonder if Tony knows that they have the same USCF rating.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, Tony is 43, Joel is 23. They have the exact same. Wow. I wonder if he knew that before going into that game. But no, that was F2. What a find. So I've already started. I've already and Emma likes Caro-Kann. I remember about her from last week. A few Caro-Kanns. I think last in our game we played we against Massachusetts or Maryland, one of the two, and like 6 or 7 were Caro-Kanns. a lot of Caro-Kanns. There were like 3 or 4 who only played it. It was wild. So looks like a normal exchange Caro-Kann. I never play the exchange. This is another kind of similar to the French. I either play so I'm already kind of out of my opening book. But again, I don't blame Emma. I think getting into these positions that are simple against these higher rated opponents, I think that it's totally understandable to do this. However, her king still being in the center, I do see as problematic. I don't know if you're seeing this game too, Brian, or not.
Playing?
He's playing James Canty. And the fact that her king is still in the center is most concerning. Now here we have Justin.
I'm telling you, he attacked Bunny.
Justin is playing James Canty, and he played Dutch.
Uh-oh.
interesting stuff. We have a bird and a Dutch out of him. We have a question. Doesn't the exchange Caro-Kann let your opponent, as white, limit your opponent's options? Yeah, I'd agree. I think the exchange Caro-Kann kind of cuts down on some of black's more mainstream counterplay in the Caro-Kann. But I'm not a huge Caro-Kann player, so I can't speak from experience. It's still a fun position. If you look at Black, probably already worse, and we're only on move 14. So Black has to figure out how they're going to develop in Castle. You're not going to Castle Queenside in these lines. Yeah, so I think that the exchange probably is a little bit better or better for White, but I don't blame her, for going with what she knows. I think White just is planning on playing her in this open position, and it does look pretty bad. I mean, she blundered a pawn, and you cannot take the knight to capture. I think she just missed this because of rook e1 skewering the thing. So yeah, I think that this will be a hard fight for her to come back, especially as this e file is already open. The knight and the queen, the bishop is going to position. I think this other knight is going to find a home really soon. Just trying to come into the game. Yeah, I think that Emma's already in some serious trouble. So hopefully she can kind of hold that off for a little while longer. See if she can't get a little bit better position. I hate to play like this, especially in team matches. I remember I played in a Matzef one time, Brian. I don't know if you've ever played in Matzef or not, but even if I'm playing somebody, I remember I was playing this kid rated like 1200, and I've always been criminally underrated. But I felt so bad because I beat him in 5 or 6 moves, and it's just in team events you want your opponent to have a little bit more. I don't know. It's a little bit different pressure when you're playing for a team, So if you lose for yourself, then whatever, you lost in 6 moves, you're on to the next tournament game. But if you get kind of blown off board in a team match, you're not just feeling it for yourself, you're kind of like a team down. So hopefully she can come up with some ideas. Now Justin is already prying open this Dutch.
And Justin playing, who is he playing here?
Tony Nichols.
Tony Nichols, got it.
Yeah, Justin is already real open. It reminds me at all. I mean, the Dutch, he played X. That's H6 and he played Kingside. Like, that is so wild. This comp from these last few moves by Tony. Yeah, I don't know how I can't believe he did that. H6 and Castle Queen. You definitely can't pair both those. I do Dutch very often, but when I do, I play the Leningrad variation. I go for this G6. Well. And I think that, it's the way you got to go. If you're playing the Dutch for applications. But I have never
say this, though.
Combined.
There's something to be said about D5 first when you play the Dutch. My son played Stonewall exclusively, and he beat Nakamura in a Simo. He was in 8th grade, crushed him with the Dutch Stonewall. But I suggest a D5 move order, though, instead of the F5.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out. I mean, I know that D5 you get E6 and F5, and you end up playing like 6, don't you?
Yeah, you can D8, but correct. That way you see a lot of those happy variations. Even if the opponent knows you're gonna play it, he would have to play waiting game for you and come out with it, right?
Yeah, does Justin Castle here? Does he just straight up move H4?
I say H4.
Yeah.
Why Castle now? There's no to open up the king at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at H4 for White. I mean, maybe even E3 and C5 if he wants to try and open the bishop eventually. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he tries to find safety in the center of the board. If he closes it up not Castle at all.
Yeah, I think that.
He wants to open it up a completely different way. He wants to take with the G pawn, open the G5. Wow, what a move! F3. I wouldn't have considered F3.
I'm gonna predict probably.
Play here. If it takes, you're dropping a pawn, right? And you've opened up the F file, and that's not necessarily good for you either. Let's go with the F or G5. So this is already. Do you play bishop to F5 here?
Bishop F5, G4.
G4, yeah. It just kicks the bishop.
I'm looking at playing.
Yeah,
I'm looking at trying to make it, since we're playing attack. We're attacking here. I want to make it as hard as possible for my own with moves like maybe C5 or E5, but I can't do that. I don't want to allow him to queen D4 check. E5 would be the move, and then playing. I don't know. D5.
I'm trying to figure out how you get rid of this knight. Even if you chase my queen this diagonal, I will play the move H4. You have no dark square to show up. You can chase my knight to exchange or move your knight all the way over from B8.
Yeah. But he didn't take that. He did that.
And this is surprising.
Now we play E5 actually now.
I thought he would take the G pawn. Take the G pawn and.
What was it? Just to bring the bishop to D3, maybe? I don't know what his purpose was of playing
Bill,
that.
if you take with the G pawn, you take with the G pawn. You kill E3, then you're pawn. You know, maybe you're castle queen side, and you still have H4, an open G5. If bishop going to D3, I think that's crushing. The open H on D3 looks insane.
Yeah.
So maybe he's just wanting to. Maybe he thinks he's got an advantage up. Maybe now he just wants to bishop out and castle. And I think Tony's doing the right thing here. If you're behind like this, he wants to try and open things up while White King is also in the center.
That's what I said. He has to come. He has to be active in a position like this. Right.
Someone in the chat says, "Rip Ohio." I don't know. These are people from your chat coming over to see me. Do they know I am on Twitch?
I just sent them a link because my stream is actually really lagging. So instead of me just trying to maintain it, I just told everyone to go to your stream because I'm on there too. So there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're probably people from Michigan.
Awesome. Welcome everybody from Michigan for joining content. I'm going to do some shameless self-promotion. Ask you to leave a follow. I'm trying to get to 100 followers. Anybody from Michigan helping boy out would be most appreciated because I think Michigan has a big desk and you could definitely get 100. I think I need 16 more followers.
Oh man, we're gonna get you there. Follow Brian.
So Justin Kills says, "Go ahead, take my D pawn. I'll take with check, and then I'm going to pick up your other D pawn because of this battery I've formed on the D file."
Yeah.
So
knight C6, like that move. Yeah.
It's a good move, but don't I keep giving up material? Pawn to pawn.
Yeah. Sure. And then I think that after that we would play something like
15. I only need 15 followers. I got to follow. Got to follow. So there we go. We're at 85. Thank you, everybody. I think we're at 11 viewers. Thank everybody for hanging out and watching some interesting stuff. This is only round 2, so we got 2 more rounds. Brian and I are doing our best to understand what these guys are doing. Yeah, I think Justin's just kind of calling. He says his king is he's up until time development. I think he wants to make it happen. He defends knight with H4. Now you got to defend your pawn. Do you like D5?
He played quickly there. I don't like quick moves like because it looks like H5 is coming immediately.
Yeah, I don't feel about E5 either. I mean, do you think bishop C4 here before H5?
Before H5?
Yeah.
Hurt. I mean, maybe we would play queen to E7, hit the pawn there on E5. I really want to get to open the C file if I could. It doesn't like I can.
And I forgive you for not being from Ohio, Michigan. I appreciate your viewership all the more because you're not from those states. So I wonder why you're not just your hosts. Yeah, so one else though from Ohio, Michigan, we love you. So
that's right. This is Ohio versus Michigan State Cup. For those of you who are still, if you guys want to, I shared the link to Ryan's Twitch stream because I know right now the stream on the YouTube is laggy. And if you want to get the same analysis going over to Brian's YouTube, hit that link. If you stay here, it's not as bad. Hey, this is the State Cup, Michigan versus Ohio. We are waiting for this. The whole city didn't care about New York. Check. Didn't care about New Jersey. Check. We care about Ohio.
You know what? I totally forgot to get you your prediction before we started. What do you think? Man. Well, what do you think? I know we already have further to do.
We can take away the 4 because what is it? 16.
There's gonna be 16 games after the May 12. What do you think?
What's the guy that starts with a B? What is the guy's the same rating? He is what board? What board is he? Bloody or Bloody
is 1-3.
So he guys is third board or second board?
Second board.
He's second board.
Second
okay.
Board.
All right. So let me just count these in. So Ivanov is going to. I have Ivanov at least with a draw.
While you count it, I'm looking at this, and Candy is putting Emma on Emma. Who has to on who defended. And it's just going to be marching up the board. So she's also 5 minutes on the clock.
Well, I got okay. For the last 12 games, I think we're going to win. I would say 7-5.
Okay.
7-5. I'm assuming that Ivanov could draw Emma in the round, but I think we have an advantage in the last round on the top board. I think Storm is going to have to hold against Mark Hyman. That's going to be hard, but that's possible that he can hold against Mark Hyman. But I do not believe I think James will win against Bloody on the second board. And the third board,
third is Constantine. Constantine's 940 USCF.
Okay, that's going to be a very important one. Okay, because he's running does not me with Tony Nichols. So that's going to be very important. And I got at least a draw against Emma. So those are some Emma and and that's why I have. What do you?
I'm real high up. I say this is for him.
Okay.
We're gonna have a line. We have a laugh, and we're just gonna eke it along.
All right.
That's the call. I know enough, but it's there's an over average rating point. The average rating of Michigan is 100 points or no. So I think you're being really fair. There's no wrong with fair. So looking at Constantine, where's Pawn? Constantine, like he's trying to press for the attack, and I mean, maybe what you gotta do, you sit around with higher rated players to outplay you. You gotta kind of push for your goal. See, he's this terrible bishop. Brett's just looking at this piece, so he's going to have to find a way to get his bishop back into the game. But Duthie's also going to figure out where his knight is going. And
correct. So for all kids out there, this is the advantage of space. That pawn d5 is a beast. The pawn on d5 stops everything.
That pawn is better than the knight and the bishop.
right.
That's a really good pawn. Now, Blobby's position, just to kind of hop over, we can up it if this ends happening. Blobby only has reverses. Your bum would have been knight for, I don't know what, here, Blob, hey, this king isn't going to do it, but if this goes to some sort of end game, 4-3 be on the king side, because isolated b-pawn, I don't know how the Rooks actually do against this isolated b-pawn, because it's defended by a knight or defended by a bishop. Well, you're never really taking it. The sacrifices for the pawn and bishop, like down knight. So I think this is a really interesting board if Abi can stay aware of his clock and not get too scared. Yeah, just null developing moves, bishop e7 and castles. And I think that your board 4 has got a solid position.
But but the king in the center, right?
The king is in the center. That's true. That's
the connotation right there.
So that king out of the center with bishop e7 and castles.
Yep.
It's gonna be tough.
That's why White has to put maximum pressure. Only really think about those annoying little brother moves, right? Those very annoying little brother moves. Enough of those can cause an impact when you have like.
Also, we have queens help Blobby. I don't so.
No,
I think you want to go.
No, you don't want to. You don't want to trick queens. I don't think he's going to do that. His plan is
Rook
to go.
And now Rook stuck b8.
Oh, I thought he was going to go queen to a5, queen a check.
But out
Wait a minute. Now Rook's going to work, but I don't know enough of this.
That's what you're expecting. Rook c8. I'm expecting Rook c8.
And Black still trying to figure out how to use knight.
Rook c8, king to f5 or f6. Why do anything?
Ooh.
Now here, but here, I'm just knight attacking the rook.
Knight to d7, rook e8 check.
With the addition you're still on.
Maybe. But I know one thing is Blobby does have that pin for a long time. So that pin's going to be there forever. But look at our knight on g5, right? If we have the perfect girl. Oh, this is a good game here. Similar time. It's going to be very interesting here. But knight e7, rook 8, and then king 6, rook to d8.
King d6?
Well, if you're king f6, you're going to play rook d to d8. You lose something, right?
Yeah, you have to go king 6 to.
Yeah.
Willie says, back d6, you can't get away. But I mean, it's just beyond range. Actually, time to start chasing pawns. That's the factor.
For the Michigan Monsters, which is our username, Michigan Monsters for Ivanov to actually have a draw is a good thing right here.
Oh yes.
With Black.
I think Blonde needs this point, but I don't know if trading I don't think trading queens is how about this. Even though you get this monster, I think it's a harder position to play.
Queen a5, queen d8, so that would have been but maybe this is what he envisioned. Maybe he thought this position, because this was better than what I thought. So he's saying, hey, I still go there. That bishop on f8 is going to be pinned for the foreseeable future. And this would be a draw position. I don't know if Bobby would want that.
It's White's so yeah, he's got to save d rook, or he's b rook. He's going v rook to d8.
Yep.
Oh, he doesn't.
So he chooses e8. So now our plan is to play g5, knight e5, knight g6, and we're
yeah, I don't think so yet. Do you have to play d5 for c5?
No, are we worried about pawn taking? I don't think I can.
Why is c5 though when I'm king the bishop defending it? No need
I think this is a position where you just gotta get your pieces up. If we go that pawn, it might be. Oh, he's gonna do it the other way. He's gonna give up. So Ivanov is gonna go to a rook versus rook. I don't like that because of the a pawn. I don't like that.
Yeah, he's got enough stuff to get in front of it.
The a pawn, we shouldn't do it.
I mean, maybe he's hoping that the king is close enough because it's already on d6, figuring that he has a better king.
That's true. He has to babysit the c6. And there's a c pawn can also pass if the e6 pawn disappears.
Yeah, I think
right now.
Yeah, they come. And Storn is down on time. Look, he's.
Oh,
Well, why couldn't he play? What was wrong back to? What was wrong with knight b there?
oh, what's happening here? Wait, the knight and queen combination could be a combination here.
So here we have to play. We have to play here.
And you go to the right? Uh-oh. The knight and queen combination, raised and combination on the board. Watch it.
So c4 or c3, and then can he get this queen b2?
Oh, he plays. Okay.
Yep, you want the queen to b2. You can't go to b right away. So man, how does he get over there?
You gotta take en passant. Oh, is there? Wait, can we sacrifice the queen on d8? Is that a draw or is that a win? Wait, take on queen d8, rook d8, rook d8. Where are you going? Oh, you have the forward. We check you again.
Well, that's quick say 2, queen to mate.
Wow, think about it.
I'm trying to figure out how to stop this queen. If you take on queen takes e3.
No. You're gonna have to. You might. Is this not about d8? That's a draw, right?
Take queen d8 check, rook takes, and just arguing the rook keep checking to infinity.
Yeah, or we're gonna see once you check. I guess I can. I can't do that because you check queen would check if I do that.
Well, it doesn't afford to draw.
Well, okay, so after we take en passant, where does the queen go? Would the queen go to that knight, that king, and that rook? Once we take passant, queen plays e2. Then we play check.
You take passant. Why can't the x3? No.
Okay, this. Oh, he's threatening the check as well.
Yeah, he's threatening the check.
He's threatening, but we have to 6. Knight to c6.
King's done. You don't have any match.
Oh, we have their check.
Queen c3.
Oh, queen a5. Queen threatening knight to h8 Ooh. Oh man. Queen a5. What is about queen a5?
Queen a5.
He's looking at queen a3, but what is
Queen
it?
a5, rook d2.
Rook to d2, and then rook kind of stops. But can I? He did play queen 5. Rook 2. Do I have discovery your queen? Though 8 wins the queen, right? Knight 2 win queen. You have discovery. Ooh, this is tough.
d2 doesn't work.
Oh man, this is tough.
King has to go to b3. King is b2.
Okay.
Right? And again, king is no because don't draw.
Why don't we want to draw?
Because Justin's board. So now then.
Oh, you guys don't want to draw. Which, yes.
Yeah,
Right. Okay. Wait a minute. Why don't we want to draw?
It does look like he doesn't want to give up the 2 pieces for go to this game. He doesn't want to looks like this pawn is the queen. Yeah.
No, you do not stop.
So now you have to play e6 and rook e8.
Yep. That's it. I think his move was playing fast with it. Now he played real fast. Hey, you have to think. This is tough.
One of queen's works.
What?
Queen b2, d8, or king run. But I'm looking for the coverage after king has this to d2.
Queen b2, c5 check, or queen d2. I'm sorry, queen d2.
I'm looking for ways to get out of this. It's still, of course. But d2 because queen a1.
Yeah. Yes. Queen a1.
Yeah.
Okay, so you make queen b2. Okay.
Rook c8 is what I was looking at.
Ooh, c8 and rook c7. Ooh.
E1.
That's still a draw. Oh, he'll go knight to. Ooh. Knight and queen dynasty.
You have to play, bro.
Can you want to give the exchange? I don't know if we should even take the exchange. We're having such for the knight. Don't look. Oh man. I thought that was a way. I don't think he should have moved that fast. He didn't look like a rook to c8 would have been a better option.
See, I would play just because the sheer fact to get pieces in the game.
Yeah, correct.
Like that's obvious. Checkmate that 1 so Ohio does 1 beat, but and lost to Michigan is 1-1. I resigned, so it's actually 2-1. So Justin Nephi to win this.
I'm in second, by the way. So this is going to get real heated
here. Or even queen. I'm looking at queen e5 check too.
Oh my goodness. E5 check. Oh, he's queen b. This is correct. No. Man.
Now rook to c check. Or rook c3 check.
Rook d3 check. Huh. Watch. Okay.
The pieces in. It might be right. Justin's got to make a move.
Oof. Okay. Now I think queen to b. Oh, he's the queen. Oh man.
Not happening. He's going all in on this.
And mate at the last second.
He's looking for rook d8.
Ouch.
So Michigan doesn't run 3-1.
Wait a minute. All right.
So now
what's the total score here?
it is 6-3.
5-3. 5-3. That game was torn. I think that was a very important game. I believe again that Justin's decision, because I have a thing that it's called the winning disease. I believe Justin had a winning position, but lost accuracy doing his calculation and had some moves little fast.
Yeah, I mean it's wild. I mean, there were a couple of moves that he made in the beginning. Like I disagree taking e takes f3 I don't need to I mean, only the
Yeah.
a couple of days that I would want out taking that game. So I wasn't just that. I don't know what he was thinking, but had a really big comeback and I don't think time pressure helped him any.
I was trying to back to the point where he won the chain. Yes, it was. Okay, so there was an H6 push, which keeps the H file closed, by the way. That's kind of weird. Went knight to E4.
Because if you were just joining us or trying to figure out what's going on, at the end of round 2, really great chess so far. Interesting games, and yeah, it's been really, really interesting. So hopefully it continues, especially as we going the closer we're going to get paired with 4-1 now. So it isn't 4-1, 3, it's going to be 2-1. It'll be interesting to see how these top players make a big difference. But we are currently sitting at 19 viewers, so thank you everybody for tuning in and hanging out Brian and I. If you're here and you're already following the channel, please do me a big favor and leave a follow. I'm trying to get 100 followers by the end of the year. That's my big goal. We're almost there. We're 85. I hit my first 50 within a month or two because I knew 50 people. These last few have taken me all summer.
Come on, Brian. You mean grandma's following you too?
Yeah. Once you run out of family and friends, you gotta get the real followers. It's a little harder.